Why so serious? God has a sense of humor. Don't believe it? Let's use the Bible to back it up, and we'll look at some humorous biblical tales. If you want to see evidence of God's sense of humor, look no further than the duck-billed platypus, body of an otter, tail of a beaver, bill and webbed feet of a duck. And if that isn't enough, the male spews venom from his rear feet. And the females, why, they're mammals, but they lay eggs and they secrete milk from their armpits. If you look at your life, I'm sure you'll find that God has inserted some humor there as well. Fresh out of college, I ended up working as one of Santa's helpers. Between choosing an elf name and just dealing with the kids and parents in general, it was clear that God has jokes. Now, God created humans in His image, and no matter what time period or anywhere and everywhere in the world, you'll find that we all laugh, we all find the humor, and we all find the funny. Is it any surprise that amidst the serious matters of things like forgiveness, salvation, and just living a righteous life, that even the good book has found a few light passages and moments of laughter? Now, a lot of translations miss the humor, but it's there, and we can look at these moments and laugh. It's okay. I love this passage for several reasons. In reading the Bible in a year, which I took very seriously, I laughed out loud at this passage. Secondly, God gives voice to an animal. You get to hear exactly what this beleaguered donkey was thinking. And anyone who's had a pet has had a moment or two when you really wanted to know what your animal was thinking. And you know they were thinking something. Now, this passage is found in the book of Numbers, the fourth book of the Bible, and it comes after all of the laws in Leviticus. It includes life after the Exodus from Egypt, which was anything but happy and carefree. Yet we have this story. Balaam was a prophet for the Moab king Balak, and the king had hired him to curse the Israelites and lure them into sexual sin and idolatry. But the Lord had other plans. Balaam was on his meet with King Balak, but a funny thing happened on his way to see the king. This comes from the book of Numbers, chapter 22, starting in verse 23. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the road and went into the field. And Balaam struck the donkey to turn her onto the road. Then the angel of the Lord in a narrow path between the vineyards with a wall on either side. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pushed against the wall and pressed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. Then the angel of the Lord went ahead and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn either to the right or to the left. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he struck the donkey with his staff. And then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, "What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, You've made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now. The donkey said to Balaam, Am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden to this day? Have I been in the habit of doing this to you? No, he said. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with his sword drawn. So he bowed low and fell face down. The angel of the Lord asked him, Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? I have come here to oppose you, because your path is a reckless one before me. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If it had not turned away, I would certainly have killed you by now, but I would have spared it. The angel took up for the donkey too. God knew how frustrated that donkey must have been and let her voice that frustration. I just love the way Balaam just had a conversation with the donkey, like talking to her is just something that usually happens. I think I'd have spent several minutes that the donkey was actually talking to me. Think of what you would say if your pet just up and started talking to you. I know I probably couldn't get my Yorkie Benji to shut up. And in this case, the Bible was laugh out loud fun. Any avid basketball or football fan knows the power of really good trash talk. Good trash talk can take someone's attention off of their game and get them thinking about what's been said instead of what they're doing. Good trash talk makes the object of the trash talk feel small and, well, silly. The Old Testament's Elijah was the Bible's preeminent trash talker. This scene is taken from chapter 18 of 1 Kings. King Ahab was married to the evil Jezebel, and he challenged the prophets of Baal and Asherah to a contest to see whose God could call down fire. We'll start with verse 17 in chapter 18 of 1 Kings. When Ahab saw Elijah, Ahab said to him, Is it you, you troubler of Israel? And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but you have, and your father's house, because you have abandoned the commandments of the Lord, followed the Baals. Now, therefore, send and gather all of Israel to meet me at Mount Carmel, and the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table. So to all of the people of Israel, and gathered the prophets together at Mount Carmel. And Elijah came near to all of the people, and he said, How long will you go limping between 2 different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people did not answer him a word. Then Elijah said to the people, I, even I only, am left a prophet of the Lord. But Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let 2 bulls be given to us, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves, and cut it into pieces, and lay it on the wood. But put no fire to it. And I will prepare the other bull, and put no fire to it. And you call upon the name of your God, and I will call upon the name of the Lord. And the God who answers by fire, He is God." And all the people answered, "It is well spoken." Then Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose for yourselves one bull and prepare it first, for you are many, and call upon the name of your God, but put no fire to it." And they took the bull that was given to them, and they prepared it, and called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, "O Baal, answer us." But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they limped around the altar that they had made. Now, here are some of the trash talk. Verse 27. And at noon Elijah mocked them, saying, "Cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he is musing, or he's relieving himself, or he's on a journey, or perhaps he is asleep and must be awakened. Your God couldn't be bothered. Maybe he's in the bathroom, on a trip, or asleep." And they cried out loud and cut themselves after their custom with swords and lances until the blood gushed out upon them. Midday passed, they raved on until the time of the offering of the oblation. But there was no voice. No one answered. No one paid attention. Then Elijah said to all the people, "Come near me." And the people came near to him, and he repaired the altar of the Lord that had been thrown down. Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord came, saying, "Israel shall be your name." And with the stones he in the name of the Lord. And he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 seahs of seeds. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bull in pieces, and laid it on the wood. And he said, Fill 4 jars with water, and pour it on the burnt offering, and on the wood. And he said, "Do it a second time." And they did it a second time. And he said, "Do it a third time." And they did it a third time. And the water ran around and filled the trench also with water. And at the time of the offering of the oblation, Elijah the prophet came near and said, "O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known this day that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all of these things at your word. Answer me, O Lord. Answer me, that this people may know that you, O Lord, are God, and that you have turned their hearts back." Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt offering and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces. "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." Jesus had already fed the 5,000, which was actually a lot more than 5,000. It was 5,000 men, plus women and children who weren't counted, and he did it with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. You can read about it in Matthew 14 or John 6. In a second act, Jesus fed 4,000 men, plus women and children, and this is in Matthew 15. It's what happened next, though, after feeding the 4,000, that Jesus had to have chuckled. Feeding thousands, the disciples got into the boat and realized that they didn't have any bread, and they wondered what they were going to do. But Jesus, aware of this, said, "O ye of little faith, why are you discussing amongst yourselves the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive? Do you not remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000 and how many baskets you gathered afterwards of leftovers? Or of the 7 loaves for the 4,000 and how many baskets you gathered then? Then how is it you fail to understand that I did not speak about bread?" After everything they'd seen and done while with Jesus, they still doubted. They still didn't get it. And I'm sure Jesus just had to shake his head and smile. If we're being honest, we've all been there. The sermon might have been great, but it went on a little too long. Maybe the speaker wasn't that engaging, and you had to fight to stop yawning. Whatever the case, let's just say your eyes needed a rest. You needed rest. Well, in Acts, Paul was preaching, and preaching, and preaching. And then he preached some more. And when people thought he was done, he kept on preaching. Who knows how long he'd been at it, but it had been a while. Well, one of the guys in the audience was sitting by an open window, and he'd fallen asleep. Now, he must have done more than just doze off. Dude seemed to have been catching some serious Z's. All of a sudden, he fell out of the window. Paul must have been preaching in the upper room because old boy fell from the 3rd floor. Let me say, he didn't just fall. He fell to his death. Dude literally died of boredom. Now, not to be outdone, Paul went outside and brought him back to life. Scripture says, "But Paul went down and bent over him, and taking him in his arms, said, 'Do not be alarmed, for his life is in him.'" Yep, Paul resurrected him. Now, if Paul had ended it here, he would have ended on a high note. But oh no. Paul went, had some food, and then kept talking all night. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that maybe resurrected dude didn't go back and sit at the window. The early church was definitely persecuted. You can read about it all through the book of Acts. King Herod had James, the brother of John, killed, and he put Peter in jail. Herod intended to put Peter on trial publicly after Passover, but God had other plans. This is from Acts chapter 12. Peter was heavily guarded by 4 squads of 4 soldiers, and on this night he was chained to 2 guards fast asleep. He was awakened by an angel and told to get up. The angel got him out of the prison and onto the street. Once the angel left, Peter went on his way to Mary, the mother of John's house. Now everyone had been praying for him, but no one knew what to expect. Peter knocked on the outer entrance, and a servant named Rhoda came to the door. When she recognized Peter's voice, she was so overjoyed that she ran back without opening the door and exclaimed, "Peter is at the door." Now, with the help of an angel, Peter had escaped from prison, and here he is knocking at a door that no one will open. Rhoda inside told everyone that Peter was at the door, and no one believed her. Meanwhile, Peter's still outside knocking. Now, eventually, they went to the door and let him in. Imagine escaping a heavily guarded prison and being escorted by an angel. You manage to make your way through the city only to knock and knock at a door and not be let in. Crazy. Think about it. We're made in God's image. And if we have a sense of humor, where do you think we got it from? Amid the seriousness, God does appreciate a little levity. He is the creator of everything. So, of course, he's got jokes. I mean, remember he did make that duck-billed platypus. No one would ever confuse the Bible with a sitcom, but it does have its moments. I think it's important to notice that God definitely has a sense of humor.